Hi everyone, how are you all doing? My name is Natalie. In this video, we are talking about this upcoming week astrology forecast. I hope that if you enjoy what I do and share on this channel, you can consider subscribe and share it with your friends. It will really help to grow this channel and this community that I hope to create for all of us. So let's begin. This video, we are talking about April 21st to 27th of 2025. If you have watched my previous video, I did say that the beginning of this Taurus season, especially around April 13 to May 4th, which include the first couple weeks of Taurus season, is a nice period of time because we have all planets in direct. No planets are retrograding, minus a little bit post and pre-shadow energy of some planets, but these are the only 3 weeks in the year of 2025 where we will have all planets in direct. So it's a great news. But this week astrology is a little bit tense. Maybe for some people more than the other, depending on how it's aspecting your chart and how it's reflecting on your human story that you're moving through. But let's talk about them. This week astrology kind of split its energy in 2 parts. So I will say the first half of the week, we're feeling more of the aspect that I'm talking about. And the second half of the week, we are feeling more of the aspect that is happening with some other planets that its energy is also baked into the new moon in Taurus that we will be welcoming by the end of the week. So the first half of the week, first, we have on the 21st Monday, we have Saturn conjuncting North Node in Pisces. The next day on Tuesday 22nd, we have Venus conjuncting North Node in Pisces. And by Wednesday, Thursday, Venus will conjunct Saturn in Pisces exactly. If you watch my previous video, I mentioned Saturn and Venus conjunction. It's basically being felt throughout the month of April because of how closely they are with each other. Only by a degree half, 2 degrees, like they're very, very close together. And the earlier part of this week, the first 3-4 days, we have basically Saturn, North Node, and Venus all together between these 26 and 27 degrees. They're all right there. So if you do have planets or degrees that is aspecting 26, 27 degrees in Pisces, you're definitely feeling this aspect more than the others. And combining them all together, it feels like basically Venus, North Node, and Saturn, they're basically inviting you to really be serious and reflect on some of the matters that is related to Venus and Saturn together, right? And also in your Pisces house. So basically this Venus conjuncting Saturn is also our third and final one. Because of Venus retrograde, we did have this aspect happening for us 2 times already. And for some of us, this aspect really talks about your Venus retrograde story or reflecting on a commitment. Maybe that is happening, that is in your life. Maybe this is regarding to a situation, a relationship that you're in. You know, it's about the values that you have in your life. And having this Venus, North Node, and Saturn, there's an energy of fate being in it as well because of the North Node. So it feels like that now that we finally arrive at this third and final conjunction between Venus and Saturn, you are ready to get serious, to commit to something. And for some, this can be maybe perhaps during the last couple of months, you are going back and forth about a certain situation, a money matter, or a relationship that is in your life. It doesn't have to be just romantic. It can be a platonic, family dynamic, or perhaps a one-on-one relationship in your life. And perhaps finally you're ready to commit, right? There's different possibility because we all have different human story that we're navigating through. Maybe you are finally ready to commit to this relationship. Maybe you're finally ready to sign this contract, right? Venusian stuff. Maybe you are ready to pay that down payment and invest into this thing that you want, right? Maybe this is a house, maybe this is a project, a business, or maybe you're finally ready to commit to a course, right? Sign up and pay for this online or in-person course that you want to invest yourself into, commit yourself into. Maybe this is you finally realizing that, you know what, this is not for me. I'm going to make the decision of not doing it, right? All of the above. But it feels like that the early part of this week, some of us are definitely thinking about these stuff and is ready to finally make a decision, right? Once and for all. And remember, the most important commitment and the most important relationship that you have in your life is the one with yourself. So perhaps you're finally ready to commit to yourself about certain things, right? Doing something or changing something in your life, and this week you are pressing that go button, that green light button to really just go do it. So whatever that is, this is the energy you're feeling this week. April 23rd, we have the Sun in Taurus squaring Pluto in Aquarius. So whenever the Sun Pluto aspect, it's kind of like the Sun is shining a light on Pluto, right, to reveal something to us. So definitely perhaps today for some of us, this is a secret being revealed, a news being delivered, information is coming in that was once hidden, but now the truth came out or the information came out, right? This can definitely happen in our personal world and on a collective level. And with Pluto, it is always about some kind of power struggle or dynamic, right? It might be happening in your life, within a relationship, or on a collective level, right? With the world leaders or with some, government system or so on and so forth. And since Pluto is in Aquarius, it definitely has something to do with the collective as well. And sometimes Sun Pluto aspect, especially this one is a square, is going to cause some uncomfort, uneasiness, right? Because it wants us to see something, right? That maybe what we didn't see before or we didn't want to see before, we're trying to avoid. But today, Sun and Pluto is like, there's no more running away. We are going to shed light on it and we have to see it. It's also that, in some way, it can also be that courage boost, right? Since there's no running away, you might as well have to do it, right? You have to look at it. So it's also that be scared, but do it anyway. Confronting and embracing that fear or that uncomfortableness, right? And sometimes this is when we can grow, because growth will not happen within your comfort zone. It's often happening out of our comfort zone. So today, some of us might feel like we are being pushed out of our comfort zone a little bit, that we have to look at something, we have to confront something, that we have to, really make a decision, pull the plug and just do it, But also, the Sun is shedding light, right? Like I said. So the Sun is casting a shadow, which is Plutonian, and allowing us to see something as well. And perhaps today for some of us, this is also seeing how far you've come, how powerful you are now if you have been doing the work, right? Someone to shed the light on Pluto and let you know that you are reclaiming your power, that you're taking your power back by doing it, right? By being scared, but do it anyway. And because of that, now you can shine through, right? To witness your power, your worth, your resilience through this this confrontation or this decision, this breakthrough that you're going to create for yourself as well. April 26th. If you have watched my last week weekly forecast, I think I talked about it, I mentioned it, but today on 26 is the exact opposition between Mars and Pluto, the third and final one. So ever since Mars stationed direct and re-entered Leo, which happened I think last week, or the week before, toward the last weekend, I believe. Whenever Mars ingress back into Leo, it kind of activates that opposition between Pluto already. And the first one that we had is back in November the 3rd, when we were in the pre-shadow phase of Mars retrograde. The second one was during Mars retrograde. Let's see, it was in January 2nd. And now we have the final one, the third and final one, which is with Mars and Pluto, both at 3 degrees in Leo and Aquarius. So for many of us, it's definitely relating to the Mars retrograde story that you have been navigating through. So you can also think back to the beginning of November or January when we have those opposition. Perhaps this is like the last and final chapter of what's been unfolding and developing for you in those parts of your life. Or this is regarding to the topics and themes that is in your Aquarius or Leo houses as well. So take a look and see what that might mean for you. This opposition basically is very much present in the new moon that we have in the next day. So whatever I talked about, you're definitely feeling it throughout the whole weekend with this Taurus new moon. Like, I'm not trying to create fear, definitely not, and not trying to be the Debbie Downer, but I do have to say that whenever Mars Pluto come together, it definitely can be intense, it can be volatile, right, even violent. So it's not fun to report on these kind of astrology. It's not like, oh my god, like I can't wait to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, but at the same time, we're also human. We have to be realistic. Life is not always sunshine and rainbow, and sometimes these aspects happen because we have to pivot, right? We need to, everybody needs to play the role in this world, right? Whether this is a good, bad, negative, positive, being the villain, being the hero, being whatever, we all have our parts, and there's different role when different energies appear. But yes, this weekend with the opposition is definitely not a sunshine rainbow moment. On a collective level, Mars, of course, signify action, fire, weapons, violence, with so much happening around the world. I really want to be the most optimistic and hope that I'm wrong, and that the violence, the wars, the genocide that are all taking place around the world will not get worse. This is my highest hope, but we definitely need to see what happened. And this past Mars retrograde is just really, really volatile for many countries, right, with what happened in the world. Not exactly with this opposition, but we can recall what happened during this whole Mars retrograde, right? We had the former president of Korea declaring martial law right around when Mars stationed retrograde. And recently, of course, he was impeached and removed from the government. Does it mean that someone else is going to declare martial law? Well, no, I'm not predicting that, but I'm definitely guarantee that there's going to be some headline news that some world leader is like doing some crazy shit or stupid decision, right? That might not be the highest good for all of us, and that might cause a little bit of tension and hostile situation for some of the places, right? Who knows? But let's continue to pray that this is not the case. We'll put our energy out there to hope for the best. But of course, on a personal level, this opposition can also play out in your personal world, right? In your Mars retrograde energy. Perhaps there is some kind of power struggle or power dynamic that is happening within a situation or relationship in your life that you have been navigating through, right? It can be like for some, not all, of course, but for some, it might even be like like a toxic or abusive situation or relationship that you're trying to navigate through, because with Mars and Pluto opposite each other, it often talk about that struggle, that power dynamic, that push and pull situation that we're trying to navigate through. Maybe you have a very toxic boss that is like very degrading, right? Like not respecting you or someone else, right? Or taking advantage of the employees, right? Or something like that. It can be a very toxic relationship that you're in, whether this is with a friend, with a family member, you know, with your lover or kids or whatnot. Like it can talk about that too. So if you really are navigating through that, perhaps this third and final opposition is really allowing you to wake up and do something that is good for you and the situation, right? It's really choosing yourself, pulling yourself out from that unhealthy situation, that dynamic, that relationship that is causing so much damage as well, right? So if that really is the case for you, I hope and pray that, you know, that you will be able to navigate through and do what's best for you. And this, now we can continue to talk about this new moon, this Taurus new moon that is happening the next day on the 27th with the sun and the moon at 7 degrees 46 minutes in the sign of Taurus. Usually I love a Taurus lunation, whether this is a Taurus, you know, new moon or full moon. I like a Taurus new moon because it usually gives us that, well, in where I live, in the northern hemisphere, it's springtime, you know, Taurus season is giving me some groundedness, you know, we're in the height of spring and it is a fertile energy. It's a great time to really set some intention, plant some seeds, you know, do a little ritual, you know, to plant something or whatnot. But with the aspect that is happening, taking place in this Taurus new moon, not that we cannot do it. I'll probably wait a day or two until the moon starts to gain a little bit of light. Not exactly during this new moon, but this new moon is rather intense. But let's break it down first. So this Taurus new moon is forming a grand cross up in the sky. So meaning there is planets and point in all the fixed signs, because Taurus is a fixed sign, and they're aspecting each other. So the sun and the moon is in the sign of Taurus. We have the sun and the moon squaring both Mars in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius, right? And they're opposing each other, the aspect that we just talked about. So this is already a T-square. And now add the last fixed sign into it, Scorpio. We have a Lilith that is in the sign of Scorpio. And pretty much I want to mention it too because Scorpio ruler is Mars, which is present in this Taurus new moon. I'm not a modern astrologer, but in modern astrology, people often consider Pluto as the modern ruler of Scorpio. So Pluto is present there as well in Aquarius, and they are all squaring each other. And the new moon is opposing Lilith and Scorpio, squaring both Mars and Pluto, right? So it is intense because we have all the heavy, tense, transformative energy in all the fixed signs. So this can really be very like for some of us. Like it can really be like, it's almost like you don't want to move, but someone is just keep pushing you out of that seat, and you're like, oh my god, like stop pushing me, I don't want to move, but then there's just force everywhere trying to push you off that chair. So it feels very uncomfortable, right? So because you're trying to grab on that chair and not fall out, but you know what, maybe perhaps sometime you need to get up and see what is really happening. Perhaps the chair is breaking. Perhaps something is coming from behind and you need to get away, right? So this new moon can feel like that. Before you want to plan something, you want to, because new moon is always that energy to plan something, set intention. But before you do that, there's something we have to face. There's something we have to confront with this very intense, volatile energy that's needing and screaming for our attention. Of course, this can be things that I've just mentioned, right? It can be a power struggle or power dynamic within a situation, relationship that you're navigating through. And along comes Lilith in Scorpio as well. This can be something that is just causing some kind of unfairness, injustice in your life or on a collective level, because very much this is also what is happening around. And maybe perhaps you are finally seeing that what your government or what some government is doing is just not good for you. You're like, what the hell did I sign up for? I did not want this. Why is this happening? What is this, right? And you are feeling that injustice happening in front of you within certain system, and you're like, oh my god, what is happening? This is not good, right? You're finally seeing what is being unfold and develop, and you are seeing all the atrocity that is caused by this this government and how it is affecting different parts of the world. Maybe you're not very obvious, I'm talking about US. Maybe you're not in US at all, but you're living somewhere else, but you're also seeing how it can indirectly affect you as well. Because what is happening, we all connected. It will be, if reflect in some way, shape or form. Taurus very much talks about the world, finance and market, and what is happening in some countries right now can really have a direct effect on the world market, that affect all our financial market, right? Our currency and our livelihood, the way we live, the way we pay groceries, the way we live our life in some way, shape or form, right? It can really cause a ripple effect. And this very tense grand cross energy from all the fixed sign is just really opening our eyes. It's like, what is happening? Let's talk about the ruler of this Taurus new moon. So Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is the ruler of this new moon. Venus right now is in Pisces, a sign that she's exalted in, which is really nice. But she's conjuncting Saturn and North Node. So we did talk about what's happening with Venus early part of the week, right? So Venus is not exactly at the most comfortable seat as well, because it can have a moment of like, sobering up, right? Like, oh my god, this is happening. Like, I have to see it through now. I can't run away anymore. It's a somber moment, almost like, oh, okay, this is happening. And it can even be a little depressing, but it's also a moment of awakening in some way, shape or form. And yes, of course, like I said, it can be uncomfortable, it can be a bit, but it's really time to confront something, not running away. It can be, like what I said, what is happening around the world. You're really feeling it, right? Or this can be, again, a certain situation that is happening in your life that you're like, not the best, but I gotta deal with it, right? I gotta face it, right? I really need to do it. And remember, they're not here to ruin your life. Once you're able to embrace this energy, work and flow with this energy, you come back out on the other side. You'll feel more liberated, free, anew afterwards. So don't look at it as it's just a bad thing and there's nothing good coming out of it, because I don't think so. I don't think this is the case, because remember, right now Mars is at 4 degrees, right? It's still at that little last bit of post shadow energy of Mars retrograde. And in a few days, on May 2nd, Mars will officially be out of the post-shadow phase of Mars retrograde, and this Mars retrograde journey will officially be tied with a bow and end. So we're kind of at this last hurrah with this new moon in Taurus. We're having this moment of like waking up, like sobering up to really see what is happening, what we have to do, what we have to confront with ourselves before we welcome in something new, before we can make space and start something new. Because Mars very soon will be out of the Mars retrograde, and Mars in Leo will continue to open up and begin a new cycle as well. So before you go forward and take action upon something new to flip that page, you need to close out this chapter too. So it feels like this new moon, in a way, it feels more like a full moon, because there's something we need to face, work with, let go, confront, right? So we can transform. And it can definitely bring up a moment of isolation, fear, and like, oh, okay, what the hell, not very happy. But then we also need to remember that once we are able to embrace this energy and work with this energy, we'll be able to move to the next chapter, the next stage, so to say. So now let's take a look at the tarot card that talks about this Taurus new moon. So this Taurus new moon is happening at 7 degrees in the sign of Taurus, and this is in the first decan of Taurus, which is represented by this 5 of Pentacles. And 5 of Pentacles, yes, is that feeling of lack, that scarcity mindset, not satisfied with what you have right now. And some of you might feel a little bit like left out in the cold, like, oh my god, what am I doing, right? Like, what can I do now? And it can feel very much like now what, right? But 5 also talks about changes. Instead of focusing on this energy, know that you can also create change to move through this energy. You don't have to be stuck in this situation, right? And with this new moon in Taurus, the moon and the sun square Pluto in Aquarius and Mars in Leo, right? So it can be represented by this, right? The Tower card is Mars, the Judgment card is Pluto. So perhaps you need to confront something that is happening. There's no more running away, right? Why are you feeling this lack, the scarcity mindset, this feeling like not having enough and scared and isolated and not satisfied? Because there's something that needs your attention. You need to receive this rude awakening for some of us, right? You need to confront what is creating this feeling, right? Because it's not here to like ruin your life. The ruler of this new moon is Venus, which is the Empress, and Venus is in Pisces, which is the Hangman. So in order to move out from this energy, you need to shift your perspective to look at what is happening, right? To move through this energy. Perhaps it requires you to finally let go of that toxic situation or relationship, this abusive power struggle or dynamic that is happening in your life, so that you can move to something new, to grow something new, right? So take that example that I've just mentioned. Perhaps you're feeling that lack, that unsatisfaction, that not happy feeling because of that toxic box that is in your life, and you need to confront it, be real with it, right? No more running around, no more running away. You need to confront the situation, create the change that you need, right? Look at it from a different perspective, right? Yes, it might be scary to confront them, it might be scary to leave that job, to look for something new, but you also are doing for your highest good, because it's no longer serve you. You need to go somewhere different that truly nourish you, right? That pour back into your cup. So I hope this message helps. Again, I love connecting with you all, so feel free to comment below. Let me know how you're moving through this energy. I hope that at least one message can help you navigate through the week with all this astrology forecast. And if you want to work with me, check out my description box. You can email me, you can contact me through IG, follow me over there too. And in the meanwhile, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.